We all saw that beautiful crochet dress that Taylor Swift was wearing today. In this video, I'm going to show you how to crochet this super easy stitch pattern and also how to crochet this equally simple stripe sequence. You can use it to make a dress like we saw Taylor Swift in today, or you could use it to make a scarf, an afghan, a baby blanket, a bag. The sky's the limit. You can make anything you want with this Swifty stripe crochet stitch pattern. If you want to follow along with the written instructions, follow the link in the video description for the free pattern on my website with step-by-step instructions and detailed chart. Let's get started. I'm using DK weight yarn and a G crochet hook, but use whatever you want. The stitch pattern starts with a multiple of 4 chains plus 1. I'm going to do 37. Then I want to double crochet in the 4th chain from my hook. We don't count the loop on the hook, that's our working yarn, so we'll count back 1, 2, 3, and 4. Double crochet is yarn over your hook, insert your hook in the chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. Those 3 chains we skipped count as our first double crochet, that's our second. Let's double crochet again in the next chain. Then our repeat for row 1 is chain 1, skip 1 chain, and then work 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 chains. So we're going to repeat chain 1, skip 1 chain, and 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 chains all the way across. This is what your work should look like at the end of row 1. Row 2 begins with a chain 5, which counts as a double crochet chain 2. And then we'll turn our work and skip the next 2 stitches. In the next chain 1 space here, we're going to work 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Our repeat for this row is chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. You want to repeat this across the row. When you have 3 stitches left, we're going to chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and then double crochet in the last stitch, which was a chain 3 that counted as a double. So we're going to double crochet in the top chain of that chain 3. So it's still yarn over your hook, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2 loops on your hook. And this is what your work should look like at the end of row 2. Row 3 begins with a chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and turn our work. Then work 2 double crochets in that first chain 2 space. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Our repeat for this row is chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. And you want to repeat this all the way across. At the end of the row, we're going to chain 1, skip 3 stitches, then we're going to work 2 double crochets in that last chain 2 space, and 1 double crochet in the last double crochet. Remember that was a chain 5 that counted as a double crochet chain 2. So we're going to double crochet in the 3rd chain of the beginning chain 5 to count as the double crochet portion of it. And this is what your work should look like at the end of row 3. Row 4 is a repeat of row 2. It's chain 5, which counts as a double crochet chain 2. Turn our work, skip the next 2 stitches, and in the next chain 1 space work 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, in the next chain 1 space work 3 double crochets. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space is our row repeat. So we're going to repeat this all the way across. At the end of the row, chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and double crochet in the last stitch, which means it's going to be the top of the chain 3 that counted as a double crochet. And this is what your work should look like at the end of row 4. The good news is we have all the tools we need now to crochet the stitch pattern. You're going to repeat rows 3 and 4 for the entire length of your project. Again, whether you're making a shawl, a vest, that same dress that Taylor wore, or a baby blanket or a scarf, it doesn't matter. You're always going to repeat rows 3 and 4. But now let me just show you how we combine this stitch pattern with that beautiful stripe. The stripe sequences are too far apart, so I won't be carrying my yarn in this project, so I'm going to fasten off at the end of each color. So we'll fasten off the color A or peach here and get ready to join color, and now join color B, which is our light purple. You tie your yarn to your crochet hook, and we're going to slip stitch to join in the top of that last stitch we worked in the previous row. Chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, and 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. This is now a repeat of row 3. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. And we'll repeat chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 3 double crochet in the next chain 1 space all the way across. This would make a really cute bag too. Okay, 2 double crochets in the last chain 2 space, and double crochet in the last double crochet, which is the 3rd chain of the beginning chain 5. And that's what your work should look like at the end of row 5. Row 6 is going to be a chain 5, which counts as a double crochet chain 2, which is also a repeat of row 4. We're just going to be repeating rows 3 and 4, but in a different combination of colors now. Skip 2 stitches, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and double crochet in the last stitch. Okay, this is what your work should look like at the end of row 6. This also completes our second stripe. The first stripe was 4 rows of peach. The second stripe is 2 rows of purple. And that could be replaced by any colors. That would be color A and color B. For the next stripe, we're going to be using brown or a color 3. Join with a slip stitch, chain 3, which counts as a double crochet, and then 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. And so for this row, we're repeating row 3 with color C. Okay, that's what your work should look like at the end of row 7, which is a repeat of row 3 in color C. And we'll fasten off. Then we're on to our 4th color and final color. There's only 4 colors we're going to be using, and we're going to join our yarn with a slip stitch in the top of the last stitch worked in color C and work a repeat of row 4. This is row 8. We're going to be repeating row 4 in color D, which is a chain 5, which counts as a double crochet chain 2, skip 2 stitches, and 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space. Chain 1, 3 double crochets in the next chain 1 space all the way across. That's what your work should look like at the end of row 8. Fasten off, turn our work. Row 9 is going to be a repeat of row 3 in color C. Depending on what you're making, you may want to weave in your tails as you go, or you may end up wanting to leave them if you're going to use them as part of your fringe. Then row 10 is going to be a repeat of row 4 in color D. And then row 11, our final row, is going to be a repeat of row 3 in color C. And that's our 11 row repeat. We're going to continue on in this exact sequence. 4 rows of color A, 2 rows of color B, 1 row each of C, D, C, D, C for an 11 row sequence of our 2 row stitch pattern. If you want to learn more about knitting and crochet, please subscribe to my channel.